Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Belatash. I'm here to talk to you about our next sphere in our book project, the hydrosphere. Hydrosphere. So when we look at the word hydro, that means water. So the hydrosphere is all of the water that exists on Earth in all its forms. Water can exist as a solid, as a liquid, and as a gas. So the hydrosphere includes all types of water on Earth. All right, before we go any further, I want you to do a few things for me. Make sure that you watch these brain pops. So on Brain Pop, I want you to watch the water cycle video, the water supply video, the one on ocean currents. There are some additional videos that you're welcome to watch, but I'm asking you to make sure that you watch all three of those. In addition, could you please go to YouTube to the Crash Course Kids Earth Spheres Part 2. So you probably already watched it for the atmosphere video. If you want to watch it again, you can, but make sure that you have seen that for both the atmosphere and the hydrosphere projects, okay? All right, so water on Earth is in the hydrosphere, and water on Earth exists in two types. Again, solid, liquid, gas, but also salt water or fresh water. So salt water is salty water, as we all know, and it's ocean water and seas. So the Dead Sea is very, very salty, and if you go there, you can like just sit in the water. It is so dense that the water is very thick, and it pushes up. You're very buoyant. Fresh water, that includes water in lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, groundwater, glaciers, puddles, all different places of water on Earth that's not salt water. So fresh water does not mean it's delicious and fantastic. It just means that it's not salty. So it could be a mud puddle. That could be fresh water, okay? Rain, snow, sleet, all types of rain, water falling from the sky, all kinds of weather, is also fresh water. Salt water, fresh water. Okay. Now, where does water exist on Earth? Well, we've got a lot of water. In fact, when we look at Earth from space, we call it the blue planet because Earth is covered with water. Unfortunately, most of that water is not water that we can drink, right? It is salt water. So it's really important for us to know that most of the water on Earth we can't actually drink, okay? Now, it does get changed, right? Because of the water cycle, that salt water, the sun shines down on the surface of the ocean, heats up the liquid water, turns it into a water vapor, gas water, and then it rises up into the atmosphere. Oh, that's that last discussion we were talking about. And it starts to condense and go back from a gas to a liquid. So that ocean water can turn into fresh water, but it takes energy from the sun to have that happen. Remember, energy makes things happen. Okay. So when we look at the Earth's water, 97.5% of all water on Earth is salt water. So that just leaves us just a little sliver, 2.5% of water that's left is fresh water for us and all animals and all plants to use. So now I'm going to leave this up here because I want us to kind of take a look at the other different percentages. So again, boys and girls, we're talking about this little sliver. That little sliver is now this pie chart, okay? So of this 2.5%, most of it is ice, glaciers on Earth that we cannot drink, right? They're solid, not available for us to drink. Sadly, glaciers are melting, right? Sadly, they are not there as much. They are melting and they are going into the water. But even so, it's the greatest amount of fresh water on Earth is still locked up in ice, okay? Then if you take a look at that, this is like 2/3 of the 2.5%. About half of what's left over is groundwater, locked deep under the ground. There are things called aquifers deep down into the ground, and they're almost like rivers, deep rivers underneath the earth, and it's groundwater, and it's huge amounts of water is there, as you can see. Then we have lakes, and then we have this next section, soil moisture. So we're talking about just water in the soil. Then we have this sliver of water in the atmosphere and this small amount of rivers. Think about like all of these huge rivers that we have, the Mississippi, the Nile, the Amazon, all of those huge rivers are still just a tiny amount of this total 2.5%, which is part of this enormous pie chart here. So Earth's surface looks full of water, like it looks like we could have so much water, but in fact there's not that much water that we can actually drink. All right, so for the hydrosphere, some things you might be interested in doing. You might want to talk about the water cycle. You could talk about how the sun's energy heats up the liquid water, turns it into water vapor, and then it condenses and precipitates. You might want to talk about different forms of water, like water in a solid state, water in a liquid state, water in a gas state. You might want to talk about weather. You might want to talk about hurricanes and rainstorms, thunderstorms, different types of severe weather. Take a look at those Brain Pop videos and think about what you would like to study in terms of the hydrosphere, how important water is to life on Earth. So, but make sure it's just about water, not about plants, not about animals, but it's specifically about water in the hydrosphere. Okay, so this finishes up our 4 spheres. We talked about the biosphere, the geosphere, the atmosphere, and the hydrosphere. You're gonna do something about each one of those, and then my next video is gonna be about how they all come together and what you might want to write about for that, okay? Good to talk to you, Cougars, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.